Welcome everyone to our 5amMesterScrum Meetup group. We meet every third Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today we have an excellent presentation. We have Rob Jackson. He's going to talk about tools he's used in his product management, his health, studying for tests. He's got a whole list of tools that he's going to share with us. For those who got the Zoom invite, if you're on the meetup.com, you can. I'm monitoring that in case you didn't register yet, but we are live, so hopefully that'll activate everyone. And we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube right now, broadcasting live, and it should be a little bit everywhere. So with that, Rob, I'm going to let you. Oh, and Roger, thanks for joining us today. I think Roger's your first time with the meetup, and welcome aboard. And
Thank you.
you're welcome. And Rob, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this.
Thank you.
Greg and I have been, he's always asked me, what do you use for this? What do you use for that? And he's like, hey, why don't you do a presentation on all the little different tools that you use? So here's my presentation. So I've always liked gadgets. I've always liked gadget-based heroes. I like 007, Inspector Gadget, Data from Goonies. I always thought that was neat, just coming up with something. As a kid, I had a backpack full of duct tape little gadgets and gadgets that I would make for our hide-go-seek games. I'd throw a little light out there and roll it, and the people would think that I'm roll crawling on the ground. So I've always just made little gadgets, and so I've always liked little tools and things like that. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about the tools that I use now in my day-to-day. Some of the areas that I'll be discussing are tools related to my learning. I strive to learn. I love learning different skills related to product management, related to motivation, related to wellness. So I like learning. So today I'll be talking about learning, wellness, efficiency, and obsession. So one of the first things, I try to get up around 5 a.m. each morning. Greg and I had a thing where we text each other and we kind of fell off that, but I'd like to get back to it one day. But I like to do a learning session in the morning. I find that that's the best time before you get distractions with work, with life, just hanging out with the family. The family's asleep. So if you get up early, this is kind of time where you can focus on learning. Right now, I'm concentrating on artificial intelligence for product managers, and I've taken classes from the Product School, Pendo, and AWS Skill Builder. And then also when I'm walking or in the car, I also like listening to podcasts. And following this presentation, I will send out a list of all my favorite podcasts that I listen to. One of the things I wanted to call out is that I didn't realize it until after I graduated from college, is that a lot of colleges offer alumni services. And so my college, Western Governors, they give you access to LinkedIn Learning, which you have to pay for premium. They give you access to Precipipo, which is access to books. So you can either read these books physically or you can get audiobooks. So this is free. Also, you have access to Pluralsight. You get access to virtual libraries. Another thing I didn't put on the slide, but I need to, is that Libby. Go to Libby and you can get free books off of Libby, and you get audiobooks for free through your state libraries. So that's another great way to learning opportunities. So, and if you have any questions, Roger or Greg, please stop me at any slide. I'll be glad to
Don
talk
just
about more.
joined. We got a couple people
Sure.
late registration, so we got some more people
Okay,
joining.
we can pause.
Don is on. Welcome, Don.
Any questions related to learning, Greg?
No, definitely we'll have to do
Okay.
the early calls and keep each other
Yeah.
honest on what we're doing. So
And that might be something we should do in Slack too, is set up a little morning stand up via Slack and just talk about what we plan on doing that day. So that'd be a great thing to do through our mastermind.
It might be good. And just so everyone knows, everyone on the Meetup group gets free access to the Slack channel. So if you haven't joined, send me a note. I'll I'll send you a link to join the Slack group so that we can. Because Meetup is nice, but it doesn't do a good job of communicating. So we can ask each other questions. I asked a doozy the other day, by the way, if anybody wants to chime in
Yeah.
and responding to it. Oh, that was fun. Okay, go ahead.
Wellness. So my health history is I've had cancer and multiple heart attacks. So I strive to stay healthy. My weight fluctuates. Sometimes I get a little behind and gain, 20 pounds or so, and then I need to work hard to lose it. But in my last recent weight loss, I've really worked with my trainer, Lance Blocker, and he's helped me with meal planning. So having a trainer helps with accountability. Lance made me take pictures of all my meals, so that it's hard to cheat on pizza or eat a pizza when you're supposed to be eating chicken and broccoli when you have to take a picture of it for someone. So knowing that you have that accountability um, really helps with weight loss. Um, also, daily walks. Uh, Taking a daily walk is a non-negotiable for me. I try to go for a walk. If the weather's going to be hot, I plan to go walk earlier. If I see that there's going to be a gap between rain, I try to walk then. If it's 30 minutes, that's great. If it's an hour, that's even better. So, and during my walks, I try to listen to podcasts, listen to motivationals, or sometimes I just turn off all the music if I have something I really want to think about and I just think on it. And it's just amazing that, the ideas that'll come in your head. And when I get an idea, I open up my Slack, and under Slack, you can like make notes to yourself. So you're almost sending Slack messages to yourself. So I just type a quick message to myself in Slack, and there I can keep like little notes to myself. That, or you can use a notepad or notes in your iPhone. Another thing I like to have is trying to focus. And with focusing, I try to get into a hyper focus type of mentality. And I find that listening to like video game soundtracks or listening to musical, movie and instrumental soundtracks really help you get into that zone. If you listen to something with music, I mean, with words, it's kind of distracting. So, yeah, that's on my next slide. I've already jumped slides. Sorry. So yes. Anything else on this slide? No. Um, some of the apps that I like using is Intervals Pro. Uh, it's a it's an app you can put on your phone, and that's where you can do like quick little intervals. You say, hey, I want to run for 30 minutes or run for uh, you know, a mile or a half a mile. You can set up that interval, and it'll tell you when to start and stop. Runkeeper helped me when I was working on my half marathon. It comes up with a plan for you, tells you what you need to do each day. And I haven't used Strava, but Strava is the like most used running type app. So let me go to the next slide. Here we go. So this is my, let's see, yeah, this is PowerPoint things screwing me up. So with efficiency, like I said, I try to get into a hyper focus mentality, and that's where I use soundtracks. I use the Pomodoro method also. If I know that I'm going to just, if I know I need to walk around, or if I know I need to focus on something throughout the day, I'll set it up for 25 minutes or so, focus for 25 minutes, and do not look at my phone, do not look at websites, do not look at Twitter. And I just work for 25 minutes. The thing goes off, take a 5-minute break, drink water, whatever I need to do, check email, and then I start the timer again and get back into it. So I find that the Pomodoro method is really helpful. Screen readers. I use screen readers a lot. I find that if I start reading something online or reading a book, my mind will go into thousands of different directions, and I'll be 3 pages in, and I will have no idea what I've just read. But doing a screen reader or an audiobook really helps me be able to read what's on the page, but also hear it. So that really helps me with understanding and consuming the information. With my job as a product manager in healthcare, a lot of our regulatory things are all in PDFs. And so you'll get a, 100-page PDF telling you about how to do certain regulatory items. And, they're difficult to read, but if you listen to them, it makes it a little easier. So I use that. I use the screen readers a good bit. And Grammarly, Grammarly is a huge time saver for me. Writing emails, I let Grammarly kind of take over. It helps me with the grammar, helps me with how the different, uh, how to, different style about how to send the emails. And that way I don't really have to overthink how I'm wording things. So I use Grammarly a good bit. Any
Hey, Rob.
questions on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hyperfocus, is that an actual program?
No, hyperfocus is just kind of a form of thinking.
Okay.
So you kind of get in the zone
Okay.
where you kind of just push out all the distractions around you. I should probably clarify that.
That's fine.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks again for the invite to the panel. Great presentation so far. The
Thanks.
Pomodoro method. Oh, by the way, my name is Donovan Ferguson.
Hey,
Guys, the Pomodoro method, can you give like a good example of it? Is it something that you're setting on your phone, like you're using this,
yeah.
or is it an app itself that you use?
So it's a website actually. It's pomofocus.io is the one I use. It's POMO focus.io. And it's a time management technique. And so you you set it for 25 minutes and you have a timer and it'll tell you when to take a break. So after 25 minutes, it'll give you a couple minute break. And then after like 3 or 4 sessions, it'll give you a little longer break. So it just helps you from getting too distracted. And it also makes you, say, hey, you set a goal. Hey, I'm going to do this for 25 minutes straight. And if you can't get to 25 minutes at the beginning, set your timer for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then work your way up to 25 minutes.
That's interesting.
Okay, thank you so much. I just went online and found the site, so I'm gonna put
Yeah,
it on my cell phone as well. Thanks.
yeah, yeah,
Alex Hermosi talked about that. If you want to learn how much time you waste, set those little time boxes like you're saying, and actually he has an egg timer on his laptop
yeah,
that he sets for 25 minutes, and then he sees how much he went off target.
yeah.
So
It really helped when I was working on my master's degree. And then I also find it if I need to concentrate on something.
okay. And you're going to share all your links at the end of the pitch, I believe,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I have a handout with all the links to all the different items.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the next one. Yeah, so the next one is obsession. So I've found when the little check-in for me is when I'm in the zone on working on one of my goals, my wife says, Rob, you're a little obsessed about this. And she's probably telling me that in a negative term, like, hey Rob, you need to chill. But to me, that tells me, hey Rob, you're really doing well. You're in the zone to take care of this goal. So if this goal is like to do a half marathon, if this goal is weight loss, if this goal is my master's degree, whatever it is, if my wife tells me that I'm assessed, then I know that I'm doing everything I need to do to achieve this goal. So, so obsession can be a negative thing if it, takes over too much. But to me, I kind of like going all in. If I'm going to do something, either I'm either I'm all in or I tend to not complete my goals. So I have to buy in. So some of the things that help me get into that obsession type goal is getting up early. Like I said, you get more time, because you're not getting distracted with life. You have focus time, and then you can just get your work done. Also, listening to motivation. This is something I was in this army. I really like, I don't say it's hard to say I liked having a drill sergeant, but a drill sergeant is really helpful in achieving your goals. If somebody's standing over you saying, hey, you will run these miles or you will do these push-ups. So listening to motivation is helpful. It just some about it. So the things I like, here's some examples. Fearless Motivation. They come up with a video or a soundtrack probably every couple of weeks. So and they have different styles. So, some of this is kind of they bring in different people, but look at Fearless Motivation. You might like it, you might not. It might not be your style, but it helps me. Eric Thomas, he's really good. He's a motivational speaker. Tony Robbins, extremely popular motivational speaker. And then just search around and look up motivation and see what type of style, speaker speaks to you. But these are just some of the ones I listen to. Another big thing is writing down your goals. Uh, Greg has his mastermind, and that's where we write down our goals, and then we check in every couple of weeks on achieving those goals. That's really helpful. Actually, doing the um, product manager with artificial intelligence was one of my goals that I set with Greg through some of our mastermind planning. And that's where I kind of started with the training. I said, hey, I was going to finish it by a certain period of time. I dug in, and I finished those classes like I said I was going to do. So, yeah, that's, write down your goals. And then accountability, find a mentor. Greg helped me with the agile and Scrum, just to ask questions on, figure out what what classes to get, what certifications to get. Find someone to help you through whatever things you're trying to work on. Talk to your friends. Tell your friends what your goals are. Tell your family what your goals are. And then who's in your corner is something that I just been thinking a lot about. I guess Rocky movies on the mind or something. But when you're in that boxing match of life and then you take a break or it's time for you have to go sit in the stool in the corner and you're sweating, you're thirsty. Who are those people that are around you that are going to help you out? Who's the people going to tell you that, hey, you can do this? Who are the people that are going to give you water? Who's the people that are going to build you up? Just find those people who are going to be in your corner and surround yourself with them, because that'll help you achieve your goal faster than anything else. So, do we have any questions from the presentation?
Are you going to be able to share any of your?
Yeah, I'll share my whole presentation.
I mean,
Yeah.
software you use. Have you had set up or?
Yeah, here I can show that.
I'm putting them on. I'm putting them on the edge, but he knows I would do such. Evil.
Rob, in the learning part, you made mention of Percipio. I don't know if Percipio is still out there. I don't know if they've rebranded to Skillsoft. I know I used it a while ago, but I've
Yeah,
not been.
mine still says whatever. So my app on my phone, that's what it's still called. But yeah, I think it's Skillshare as well.
Oh. Thank you.
I just started using MyFitnessPal for
Yeah.
my calorie counting and exercise stuff. Though I would say the API connection between that and my Connect for my Garmin isn't the best. I have to hit the button a few times to get it to sync up for the steps, but it seems pretty good.
Yeah, I used MyFitnessPal. So one of the things I had a problem with is, and I've tried different weight loss things with tracking meals. It's coming up with all the calories and taking a picture of my meal and determine, hey, this was 1,000 calories or this was 500, and typing all that in. So it's extremely boring, but a trainer and we came up with certain meals, and he knew these were the meals that were on the approved list. A handful of this type of rice, this, this much chicken or this much beef. And then we put those combinations together, and those were my meals. So I didn't I didn't get a wide selection, but it helped me manage it better because, wasn't going to count calories and log all this stuff in there. So I pretty much had 3 or 4 meals, and it was just a combination of different foods. So here's
Hey,
the kind of
Robin.
the handout. Go ahead.
Sorry, you can hear me this time. Great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just you mentioned Strava and that you hadn't used it.
Yeah.
And I actually use Strava regularly, and I go running, but you can use it for walking and other things. What I
Yeah.
found is that I found that it holds me accountable because I connect with a lot of people, and they generally do it like a like or an acknowledgement that I've done a run or something. And then if I don't do a run for a while, I'm like, oh, hang on a second. These guys are going to know. That
Yeah.
kind of almost self accountability because I'm sure they don't really mind if I run or
Yeah.
not. But yeah, I expect maybe Run Pro or Run Maker is similar.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my friends, he uses Strava, and so I've been thinking about doing it. It just, right now I just, go on my Apple Watch a lot of times and say, hey, I'm going to go for a walk. But that only sends to the people I've shared my thing with. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, I have been thinking about, because that way me and my friend, we can work on things together. Because I'd like to know if he's trying to get in shape or train for something, and he's going to surprise me and be better than me. And say, hey, you want to do a half marathon? I've been training for a year and a half, and you didn't know about it. So, yeah,
Yeah, that's true. And actually, when I see friends of mine that have run further or faster, then I generally try and comment as well because,
yeah,
they've done pretty well.
yeah,
Yeah, nice.
I found it interesting as a agile coach, scrum master, metrics, and all that. When you do, I didn't think of this, but when you do those calorie tracking apps or your steps or your miles, and you look at it, you're like, it really shows you to your face where you really are doing stuff or not progressing. Where you're saying, oh, I'm doing good, I'm doing good. But when you see the metrics, it's kind of like a scrum team or a team. They think, oh, we're doing great. And then you show them metrics like, oh, that's not looking good.
yeah,
It's amazing what the technology and the way it is nowadays that if people haven't done it from a health perspective, but in anything, that getting these metrics and apps and all really helps take it to the next level.
It does. I mean, today was like last sprint, pretty much for us for the quarter, and then just going back looking at what we've been able to achieve within that, you know, time period. People are like shocked, like, oh, I thought I thought we at this level, but this is what we've actually, managed to achieve. So brings back, everyone back to sit down and reflect on how we've been committing stuff and how we can adjust for the future, which is very, very good.
And that's a good point. The commitment part, right? Like Sammy was talking about committing to his run or not running, and then people come right back and it shows you. It's the same thing like in these teams. We're going to commit to all this work and they didn't do it. And they go, oh, we got to stop overcommitting to
yeah.
what we want to do. Hey, Rob, can you go back up to the top and just share a little bit? Like, why do you use
I know.
Natural Reader?
So Natural Reader is that program that reads my PDFs. So I use Natural Reader. They have a web version and they have a web version. So you can just find a website that has a lot of text. Even Medium is now integrated a speech thing into their software. But long web pages, especially with this like AWS Skill Builder, they had long pages full of text. So I would just start my Natural Reader on some of that Skill Builder work, and it would just read the whole page to me. So I didn't have to read a little bit, slide up, read a little bit, slide up. You turn the natural reader on the website, and it just reads it for you, and it scrolls the page for you. So you can just keep up with it. You're visually learning it, but you're also auditory learning it. And so you absorb the information a lot better. So yeah,
you're not
that's
the only one. Again, Alex Hormozy, one of his books, he's talking on his podcast that I listen to. He talks about, he doesn't just read a book; he visually watches it and plays it at the same time to get it both from a visual and an audio perspective. So you're not the only one out there. I think if really
do they let you take notes at the same time? Are those tools for books?
I'm not a natural reader, but with Skill Builder, I mean, you just throw it up on another screen and take notes, pause it. They might have had a notes feature as part of their software. I didn't use it, but I think there is something in there.
Okay, cool, thanks.
But this is free. This AWS Skill Builder, the company I work for, everything we do is on AWS. And so I figured, when we just start to put artificial intelligence in our software, we're going to do it with AWS. We're not going to set up our own personal Python server and this and that. We're going to use the tools that are in AWS. So it works out for me. I'm like, hey, what services does AWS have related to, artificial intelligence? And they have Bedrock. They have all these different things that they use. So now I know how all their parts and pieces come together. So when we start writing those stories about implementing AWS, I know that we need to connect the Dynamo to this and this and that, and I'll have some baseline knowledge when I start talking to my development teams about it. So that's really, as a product manager, I don't need to know all the technical features, but I need to be able to pick up on words. Like, hey, we got to build a Bedrock server. Okay, I know what a Bedrock server does. So that's kind of what I wanted. I'm not going to write Python code. So some of these AWS classes, they get way in the weeds. So I didn't go that far. I just want to know the general terms. What does it take to take our internal or our data, our information about healthcare or whatever, and how do we pipe that information into an AWS type system and then get out the information that we want to get from it. So that's what I was trying to get. So I feel like I've done that pretty well. Now, that technology changes every 3 months. So, I'm going to be constantly learning. So, free code camp, if you've never looked at it, or if you have a child or anybody who's trying to learn, hey, I want to learn technology with the web, I would recommend them go to free code camp. It's kind of an alternative to college for these computer scientists. One of their main goals is you do not have to go get a computer science degree to be a full stack developer. So I use this a lot when I want to try to learn something that some of my developers are working on, or just if I want to learn something really quick. I wanted to learn CSS a couple of years ago. So I did a free code camp on learning CSS because I knew HTML. I just wanted to learn more CSS stuff. And so I took this to learn that. So it's great for people who don't have time to go to college, like I said, and get a computer science degree. This free code camp, totally free. They do take donations, but it'll teach you from beginning all the way to be a full stack developer. Everybody knows what Udemy is. Everybody signs up for classes that they never watch. I have done a couple all the way to the end. It's good. You pay for what you get. Pendo, Pendo has their own product management type Jira type things. So they're trying to sell you to use their software, but they have a lot of their classes are pretty general. So you can take their classes. Yes, they use their software when they're teaching you these classes, but you can learn a lot and they're free. So I would recommend the Pendo certifications and free certifications. Product School, again, they have free classes. Now they're going to try to entice you to go get their full certifications, which are thousands of dollars. But there's a lot of free classes that they offer as well. You can take their appetizer classes, and they always say, "Hey, if you'd like to learn more, sign up for our full certifications." But you can take their micro certifications. So I've gotten a lot of those. I talked about the WGU classes, the WGU free services. I didn't even know about these. It's funny. They offer them when you graduate. They don't really talk about them when you're taking the classes. So they're like, "Hey, you graduated. Here are some free services." I'm like, "Yeah, I would have liked these services when I was a student, but I'll take them now as a graduate." So that I might have had access to them before, but I didn't know about it until after I graduated. Do we have any questions so far?
So does WGU give you access to LinkedIn Learning and the other?
Yeah, so for WGU, I just use my WGU credentials for my LinkedIn Learning.
So you need the credentials, which I don't think I have. I'm not sure if I'd qualify for.
Yeah, I'm an alumni from WGU, and I can say, yeah, I've used some of them too. They have Plural Site, I think it's called as well,
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
can once you graduate, then you have access to these. And the Plural Site is pretty good. They have
yeah,
some apps in there, and they have actual teaching.
yeah. Yeah, on my slide, I mentioned Pluralsight. I don't know why I didn't get it here. So I wanted to give a plug to my trainer. So my trainer is based in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm in Georgia. So I train with him on Monday mornings, and we do everything via FaceTime cameras. So I have an OB spot. I meant to mention my OB spot. If you've never looked at, I'll type it in real quick. OBS spot. So this little OB spot, it's like $100 and something, but you can set up AI tracking. And I used to have to like take my little camera and move it all around with me. This OB spot can track my face. And so as I'm moving around, if I'm, doing bands or doing this camera follows me around. So I almost have my own virtual cameraman. So, yeah, so I've been working out with Lance for about 2 years now. So, yeah, so just it's totally remote. The prices are good, and yeah, I've enjoyed working out with him. So,
So
yeah,
you actually videotape yourself working out
no,
alongside him, or
he's live. It's live with
he's
it.
live?
So
Okay.
I do FaceTime, and he's on FaceTime, and I just have that camera hooked up,
Okay. That's fun.
so he can see, and he does counts for me and stuff like that, and say, "Hey, we're going to do this next." I'm sure he gets bored to death or dizzy when he's. Oh, one of the funny things is that ob spot when I'm on the rower, I'm moving back and forth, so my camera's moving back and forth with me. So I'm sure he gets a little sick watching me. So here's the Intervals Pro I was talking about. It's a app for measuring intervals. It's used for HIIT and other timed exercises. Oh, so you see how it's got a little write-up? I'm a big into AI. So what I did was I wrote a list and I told AI, "Hey, write a couple of bullets about each one of these activities, each one of these things." So AI came up with all these bullets. So I didn't write them. AI did. Runkeeper, this is what Runkeeper does. Strava is very similar. And then here's the Pomodoro method. Here's the Fearless Motivation, Eric Thomas. And then my YouTube, I don't do a lot of learning on YouTube. I probably should do more. So I do watch Greg's videos in the morning, or whenever Greg posts. And then I do like this Jocko Willis podcast. They're not that long, and he's a former SEAL. It's motivating. So I watch that. And then here's some of the podcasts I listen to. I would put Greg's podcast in here, but if I'm watching his YouTube channel, I don't need to watch the podcast because I've already listened to it. I know I'll put it on there, but I've already watched it. Why do I want to listen to it again?
Well, my favorite thing about Spotify is that unlike YouTube, I wish YouTube would do what Spotify does, but you don't have to have like it on in a video mode for it to play. So when I go work out, I put the Spotify stuff on and I just
Yeah.
go to let it run
Yeah.
for hours.
Yeah. But here are some of the podcasts that I listen to when I'm out for a walk or things like that. So, like I said, we'll get the emails from the meetup, and Greg will email out this sheet for everyone.
Do you have any podcast that you could recommend for someone studying for their PMP exam?
Greg might be able to help more on that. I haven't done the PMP.
Send me a note. I'll find you some based on.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. I took my PMP a long time ago, and I will never let it go to expire.
I would bet you PMI Institute has a podcast.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I think they do.
Yeah.
But it could be anything. It won't be just PMP per se. There are some project management podcasts out there.
I have seen a lot of my friends start getting PMP. I didn't know PMP seems to getting popular again. Well, I don't know. It might not have ever stopped being popular, but it seems like a lot of people are getting PMP.
For me, I just done a bunch of IT projects, and I recognized that I qualified and I applied, and they
Oh,
said,
cool.
"All right, you could study now and take the exam." So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, here's my I don't know if y'all can see it, but here's my PMBOK Guide 6 process flow board that I had when I was working on my PMBOK a while back. I never finished it. I don't know why I never took the test, but I did have to study it for my master's degree. So I learned about the PMBOK.
This new version of the PMP is a combination of 6 and 7. So if you did 6 already, then it wouldn't be far off from 7.
Okay. I have thought about going ahead and getting it. Any question? Anything else?
Yes, one other thing. I recently found Monday.com. I'm not sure if you've used it before. And I just mostly use it to the free version of it to just list ideas. So I'll go in there and I'll just create a project, name it, and then I will put ideas in there. So I might see a YouTube video, I'll copy the URL and just paste it inside of one of the entries and keep
Oh,
pasting.
cool.
And then what will happen is that then I will have like a list of projects or any ideas that, come to your mind randomly, things that you want to work on or classes you're studying. And then I'll just keep. So it organizes it. So if I go on the PMP tab, then everything with PMP would come up. Or if
That's on Monday.com?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
If you don't get the ads, you get them on YouTube all the time. I get Monday.com ads.
I do. I just thought I didn't know that it had like I thought it was more for businesses. I didn't even know that there'd be something for an individual out there.
I stumbled upon it because we needed one to find for my job. We actually end up getting it for the job. So I had applied for it just to test it out 30 days. They end up, it was free. It's like you have a certain amount of projects. So let's say, for example, I would create like 2024, and then that's a folder. Within that folder, there are subfolders now. So then each subfolder you create, you could name it like exercise. And then all the exercise videos, you just go to YouTube, copy the URL and paste them in. So theoretically, you could just, after a while, you could go straight to Monday.com and all your YouTube videos that you want to watch. You're not being bombarded when you get to YouTube with the algorithms.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to take a look at that. I wrote a note to look at it.
Hey, Rob.
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite tools for product management? Your favorite topic?
Oh, topic?
No, what's your for product management? Because you're a product manager now.
Yeah.
You're going up from when you started. You're like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, just do it. Next thing you know, he's a product manager.
Yeah.
What tools do you use for that role?
Oh, I mean, Jira, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I use Jira. Um, I do use I'm back to Chat GPT. I did go to Copilot for a little bit. I do like to ask Chat GPT or Copilot, just kind of clue in questions. Hey, I'm doing this. I'm doing this type of project. What are some things I should watch out for? Or, or write me a PRD on something, and it just to get some ideas, because sometimes it makes me think of things that I didn't think of. Um, Let's see
And
what
that's a big
other.
thing everywhere. Just using ChatGPT to get away from a blank page. That's what
Yeah.
everyone's big on. It's not necessarily it writes it for you, but you just like throw a couple words out just to get you started, because that's the biggest delay sometimes.
Yeah, this AI stuff is it's really a game changer nowadays. I mean, even
Yeah.
GitHub has got the Copilot one, which has really helped our developers in, working fast, helps them in code reviews and stuff. So it's just brilliant. I'm really looking forward to
Yeah.
where AI is really taking us because it's amazing.
I don't my developers if they listen to this, but so they were chatting the other day on Slack, and they would talk for like 5 minutes, and they came up with all these specifications of, if this, we should do that, or this is the way that these certain system toggles work. And it was very confusing. A lot of people had a lot of input and this and that, and I was like, how am I going to put this in a technical guide that, because we're not going to reference this huge Slack message. So I copied and pasted all their little things they said, and I'd asked ChatGPT to said, summarize what these people said. I said, summarize for a technical document. And it did. It summarized it perfectly. And I had one of them to read over it and say, okay, y'all wrote tons and tons of lines. Is this summarizing what y'all truly said? And they said yes. And so I was able to copy that into our little technical guide. And it would have took me, an hour to try to interpret it. We would have had a meeting if I wanted to type that up myself. But, in ChatGPT, it took, less than a minute to just do it. So that was extremely helpful, just to summarize. And then Grammarly helps me. I've been working a lot on education. We're coming down to the end of this project that we've been working on for about a year. And so we've been updating a lot of different screenshots. We've been moving reports from one place to the other. So I'm having to rewrite a lot of education. So I connected my Grammarly to the Word or to Confluence, because Confluence is a web page. So Grammarly is helping me with the text on writing this education up. I'm from South Georgia. We're not known for our grammar. So this helps me out a whole lot with grammar.
That's okay.
So
I'm an engineer by trade. Our grammar's terrible too. So
yeah.
my
So
prop-
I think that,
choice.
and then we use Slack as our communication tool.
Rob, question for you. The Grammarly, is it the paid version or the free version? Which one do you use?
For what?
Grammarly.
Grammarly?
Yeah.
Oh, I have the paid version.
Okay. How much is it?
Was it $29.99 or something like that? Let's see. I haven't. I've been a member for so long. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, even the free version has got quite a wide coverage. I think it's that charges when you've gone past certain number of words a day, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I would recommend it, especially with my master's degree. It seemed like the program that um, WGU use for writing your paper, like, you get a score of 96% correct on grammar or whatever, that Grammarly and whatever program they used was extremely similar. So if I had a 90 or above on my Grammarly, whatever paper I wrote, then I felt really good that it was going to pass the grammar through WGU. So I always tell people Grammarly got me through my master's degree. So I just Greg the other day asked me to read his foreword for the book that he was a part of. I don't know what was what I was doing for you, Greg. He wrote up all his background in his book. So what I did was I took what he gave me. Here, yeah, I'm plugging your book,
There you go.
and I ran it through Grammarly, and so that's how I adjusted it. I read it through Grammarly, and I adjusted based off Grammarly's changes, and then sent it back to Greg. So I'm a big fan of Grammarly. I've actually got a lot of my coworkers on it as well. They don't send me any money though. I should get sponsored.
Okay. Well, we're getting down to the end. Any other questions, or does anybody have any other tools they use that they would like to share as part of the meetup? Feel free to offer any additional ones that you say you should all try this. Now, if you ever do streaming or podcasts, I can give you all kinds of tips on the tools I use for that. Maybe another thing if you ever decide to go that realm.
Yeah, I'm going to look at the Monday thing.
Yeah,
I've never paid attention to it.
Okay. And then, just since we're coming to end, just a reminder, the meetup is open to anybody who wants to present, share. You have something that you're working on for your job or your client, and you want to run through a training exercise or share something that's you just want to do a practice run before a big presentation, feel free to message me and hop on our meetup, and I'll schedule to do that. It's good.
And we'll probably be starting a mastermind up pretty soon, won't we, Greg?
Yes, actually, probably next week.
So if you have some goals that are coming up that you want to achieve for the third and fourth quarter, I would recommend joining the mastermind. And then this really helps you achieve those goals. The mastermind is a group of us that we have accountability with each other. We use Jira to manage our goals. So you get also a class on Jira, and you pick 2 or 3 goals that you're going to try to achieve during the time, a sprint. And, you do it through a sprint. You do it based on a sprint. Like, hey, I'm going to do this in this sprint. I'm going to do this in this next sprint. And then you achieve it at the end of the project. So I would highly recommend joining our mastermind.
Greg, where do we get a copy of your book? Where can we find your book?
If you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get a free copy, PDF.
Okay.
If you want a hard copy, I'm setting up a way of buying an individual hard copy, but I can send you free PDF. So if you sign up for the 5amMesterScrum newsletter, everyone gets a free copy. Plus other free stuff that, like this, I'll share this with all my news readers. And I'll give Rob credit. I still owe you a coffee mug.
It's okay.
So, okay. And again, we do this every third Wednesday of the month, about 6 o'clock. Anyone's open. It's free. We don't charge to be a member of the meetup or anything like that. And everyone's welcome. We do a little more complicated login because I always worry about hackers. We've had a few hackers in the past, but I made it a little extra difficult. So hopefully that worked out fine.
Yeah, if y'all have suggestions on what type of topics you'd like for us to have, that'd be great too.
Or you want to present one?
Yeah, if you want to present one, it's great too.
Yeah, it's a great chance for something. All right. Well,
Greg's a great facilitator.
I try. You guys make me better every time. And this is all going out in social media world, so there'll be copies on YouTube and different things and podcast form. So maybe if Rob was listening to the podcast, but he says he watched it on video, he can watch himself, or he can just listen if he doesn't want to look at himself in the screen. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone. You have a great day or a great evening wherever you are in the world. And hopefully see you again in a month, and reach out if you want to present. This wasn't that painful, was it, Rob?
No, that was great.
Okay.
And I was going to say, if any of y'all have any questions, or you can reach out to me on the Slack channel, or I can add my contact to my handout, and y'all can reach out to me on LinkedIn or wherever. Email.
Yeah, and like I said with the Slack, it's free. It's not a marketing thing, so you won't get all that. But you can share with other agile folks things you find or questions you have. So, and that'll be fun. All right.
Thanks a lot, Rob. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Thanks,
thank you.
Greg.
Thanks, Sammy.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Roger.
Cheers. Bye.